Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Jarvis S. Scott with What's Happening Birmingham today. I got the honor and pleasure, first time on the podcast, Birmingham Police Chief Scott Thurmond. Chief Thurmond, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great. So I know you've only been on the job for, how many months has it been so far?
Since January 28th.
Since January 28th. So I've been always, I love having, people from law enforcement come on the podcast to kind of explain to the community what's going on. I know you've been very busy because it's been very busy in Birmingham since we've had so many local events and now we can say international events over the past couple of months. So I want to hear your thoughts on that. But what was your first, stepping into the job, what was kind of like your first goal and objectives?
I guess I have three major goals for the department, or four major goals for the department. First is combating violent crime and gun violence in the city of Birmingham. That's a nationwide problem. So we've partnered with our state, local, and federal partners, mainly our federal partners, to assist us with that. They have some different things that can assist us. If it's a nationwide problem, it's something that Birmingham can't fix on its own. So we've reached out for help. I'm not someone who, I don't need my name out there as the chief of police as for accolades. I just need the problem fixed and the Birmingham to be a better, safer city as a whole. The second goal is community engagement. The police department has to do more to engage the community, to develop the trust between the community and law enforcement. And so we've got to do more to do that. Some of the things we have planned are the community walks that we have done in years past, just partnering with some of our members of the clergy, and be involved with the community to develop that trust. I think that's very critical this day and age in law enforcement. The third is employee wellness. We've got to do a better job of taking care of our employees, to teach them about financial wellness, mental health, physical health, make sure they're getting the things that they need to have a good personal life as well as a good professional life. Because my kind of saying is that happy people do good work. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the last thing is recruitment and retention of officers for the Birmingham Police Department. That's a big one as well. There's just a bit of a negative connotation towards law enforcement as a whole across our nation right now. And it's affecting the majority of the departments in our nation in hiring and recruiting officers.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to like crime prevention. What new tools, like I've heard over the past year, you all got the new crime prevention center. I heard for years as far as like the shot spotters. Any other new tools you all have added?
So we're Real-Time Crime Center opened in October. So we're still adding technology to that. And so what the Real-Time Crime Center does, it takes all the technologies that we already had and compiles it into one hub, if you will, so that it can all interact together. So for instance, if an officer gets a shot spotter call, if you will, as they're getting dispatched, maybe there's other information that's coming in. Well, Real-Time Crime Center can put all that together and relay it to the officer as they are approaching the call, to give them more information to help them better handle that particular call. And we've had a lot of success with it already. Just with several homicides, we've captured video of that homicide occurring. It told us, maybe the suspect vehicle, we were able to get a tag number, just things that help solve some of those cases.
Okay. One of the things you all provided to me before this interview was the latest crime stats so far to like July. Before I kind of go through a couple of numbers, how do you all kind of compile these stats?
So we compile them when incident reports are generated when a crime occurs. So that goes into the computer system. We have an analyst who pulls that out of the computer. She runs a query and it will tell her, how many robberies we've had this year versus we know what the numbers were for the previous year and compare them to year to date. We have a total number versus year to date where we are today. And it shows either an increase or decrease. And that'll let us know where we are. And we track crime on a daily basis. So we have a meeting, the deputy chief over Patrol Bureau meets with the captains daily. And so they go over the crime that occurred in the last 24 hours. And they talk about what happened in that time period. They talk about how they're going to adjust resources, our officers and other things, to combat those problems in those areas for the next 24 hours going forward. And that's basically called the ComStat model is what that called. It's something that's used across the nation for many departments.
Okay, and then of course, I'm looking at it now, it's like, I guess I'll start off with murders year to date. And this is, I've been doing this tape and these July stats while we're in August. compared to 2021, it was 60. Now it's 78. I guess I kind of read a little more into it. These define what like you said, the murder. Is this counting where it's like disputes, as far as, or if it's like self-defense?
So self-defense or a case where the district attorney ruled a case justifiable would not be counted in there.
Okay.
So these would be charged. They could be criminally charged.
Okay.
Cases that would be criminally charged. So that's where when you read on some of the other news entities, you'll see they'll say there's been a total of X number of homicides in the city of Birmingham, but the city of Birmingham is only counting this number, a lower number. And so those justifiables and things have been taken out. And so basically we present the cases to the district attorney, and then he or she has to make a ruling as to whether or not it's going to be a chargeable crime.
Okay. How do these stats compare to other cities of like comparable size like Birmingham?
Well, what hurts Birmingham is the population of the city limits of Birmingham, which is now just right around 200,000. And so that per capita, when you look at per capita 100,000, those numbers hurt us. And, if you look at the metro area, if it was the metro area of about 1.6 million, we'd be so far out of those numbers. But because the city of Birmingham's population continues to shrink, it hurts us significantly.
Yeah, because even I look on here, for example, robberies, 274 in 2021, year to date, 255. In some of these areas, there's a percentage up and there's some percentage down. A lot of this is really depending on and can you explain how the pandemic kind of affected, well, I was in the pandemic, but after the pandemic, these numbers also, it was like a trend, you would say?
Right. I don't know that the pandemic necessarily hurt us. I think what's hurt is just the change of our culture as a whole, and not just the city of Birmingham, but just our nation. I think is what's hurting us. Problem resolution, people don't have any. They just pull a gun and start shooting, and there's no conflict resolution. It's like, wait a minute, why does everything have to result to gunfire? I mean, and I don't think people really realize that when they pull that trigger, that what that causes either severe injuries to another person, takes someone's life, and the repercussions that they may face as a result of it. I don't think they really realize the big picture of pulling out a gun and using it, what it really does. It's awful.
Yeah, and the thing I want to go back to is people want to go back to the shot spotter technology, but kind of tell me okay, the minute I shoot something up in the air, or you hear bullets, how fast does that alert to you all's crime center, and just the location technology behind all that?
Within just a few seconds.
Oh wow!
Probably less than 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost instantaneous. It gets checked really quick, and then we get it, and then we're able to get that information out to the officers to get them to respond to those areas.
Okay. Another thing I want to talk to you about, Chief Thurmond, of course, while we're taping this, we got a latest trend going on in the city with exhibition driving. Can you kind of explain what that is in so many words?
Right. So exhibition driving is, kind of like tricks or acts with the vehicles, doing the burnouts, the donuts, things of that nature of just, there's a lot of the vehicles that are on the market today are a lot of really high power vehicles. They're relatively affordable. A lot of the Dodge platforms and some of the others, the Ford, the Chevys, and, people are just wanting to show off those vehicles. And, those vehicles with that much horsepower can quickly get out of control, could either hit other people or other vehicles. The other thing it causes just a loud noise for, maybe people living in that area, the loud noise, just the defacing of the city streets. There's just a lot of, it sounds like something innocent and fun, but it can really result in a lot of problems and injuries, property damage. And unfortunately, this last weekend, that did result in another vehicle striking another vehicle. And then unfortunately, several people being shot in a homicide of someone who was just an innocent bystander.
Yeah, I've seen that Mayor Whitman put out a statement about that. And I know you can't remember all the things behind it, but if you're caught doing it, what are some of the fines?
So those are things that we're trying to get pushed through in the state legislature. Those are just proposals at this point in time. Those aren't actual things that are enforceable. Those are some of the things that we would like to see. Of course, one of them is to impound the vehicles. And once the vehicles are impounded, the owner must go see the judge. So instead of just paying an impound fee and getting the car right back out, you got to have a hearing before a judge, and the judge will determine, if, when, and how you will get your vehicle back.
Okay. And one of the things I even saw too, you propose is like if people are videotaping it and then they turn in to you all, they get a reward.
Right. Because that would be helpful to us in trying to, apprehend those who are responsible for that type of activity.
Okay. So another thing I wanted to talk to you about, I want to go back to the Crime Stoppers program. What are some new things and new updates for that?
So Crime Stoppers is still a very robust program here in the Metro Alabama area. It's simple. You call in, you're given a code for the information, and then you qualify for an award. And awards are paid relatively quickly. You just go to the bank. They'll give you a place to go and pick up the money. There's no questions asked, and you get the money, and the law enforcement gets the information to solve the crime.
Yeah, because I've seen like you all been doing a lot of billboards, like even digital billboards now, kind of bring up some unsolved crimes.
Right. So that's Crime Stoppers. And then, of course, the FBI has paid for a few here recently as well, just trying to bring those cases back to light to hopefully get those families some closure.
Okay. So, like I said, you've been as chief for a couple of months, but while being chief, you was over the city during the World Games. What was kind of like your recap, your thoughts, during that period? What worked, what didn't work in your opinion?
Everything went really smooth. I mean, it was nice to really see all the law enforcement agencies in our area, as well as some of our state and our federal partners, all come together and just really everybody worked together. There was a lot of really great relationships that were built before and during the World Games, and that will help us moving forward as we try and combat crime and other things. Just having those resources of now I can pick up the phone and call this individual. Some of our federal partners have these pieces of technology that we may not have been aware of and have seen them work firsthand, and using those as we move forward and trying to combat crime in the city of Birmingham. I think that's going to be a force multiplier.
Okay. And I see, like you said earlier, with the Crime Stoppers program, trying to do more of an emphasis and trying to solve unsolved crimes. Is it becoming much easier or much challenging now?
I think it's more challenging. You still have the no snitch and don't talk. And so I spent about 9 years in homicide earlier in my career. So I've been there and experienced it firsthand. And a lot of people a lot of times we'll know who's responsible for the homicide, but we just don't have that testimony or something to move forward to obtain a warrant and move forward to the court process. And that's where we need the community to get involved. And that's what I'm trying to say is, the community has to be a stakeholder. If the community believes that the police department is realistically going to be able to solve all the crimes and prevent all the crimes, it's just not possible. We can't put an officer in every home, every car, every street corner, every street. The community has to, try and police themselves to a degree and also be willing to give us the information. So that's where the community engagement comes in, the trust. Hopefully that will help with that. It's just us trying to do everything we can to make Birmingham a safer city.
Okay. And one of, I guess, final things I want to talk to you about is, of course, like I said, your last part was talking about employee wellness and, basically trying to make it, a job that employees want to come work for. What are your plans and programs to kind of recruit more officers? Like how many officers currently with the Birmingham Police Department right now?
I don't have the exact number. We are significantly short.
Okay.
Where we need to be and want to be. We are fully budgeted by the city, so it's not a money issue. I've had several people approach about, is it a funding issue? And it's not. We're fully funded for all those positions. It's just a question of, people don't want to be in this profession. Now, some of the things that we have to offer that no other law enforcement agency has to offer in Alabama is we can hire at 19. Nobody else can do that. We also have 20-year retirement. So conceivably, somebody could join at 19, work 20 years, retire at age 39, and then go on to another profession, whether it be law enforcement or something else. So that's an advantage for us as well. The other advantage we have right now is we work 4 days a week, 10-hour days. So you have 3 off days a week here. So that's an advantage, especially to our younger generation. That's something that they really look forward to. So those are some things I think we have to highlight where we are. In Jefferson County Personnel Board, we're number 2 in pay right now. So it's not that we're not paying our employees well. We just have to highlight those things. I think we have to get out and get to the high schools, the junior colleges, the colleges and things, and recruit those things. We've just started our internship program back up with UAB. And when we had that in the past, several of those people that went through the internship program ended up being Birmingham police officers. It's just creating those pipelines to get people here, going to our military installations when people are finishing up their military careers and recruit them for Birmingham Police Department.
All right. I know as you mentioned, you say you've been 24 years. So why did you choose a career in law enforcement?
So my dad was a Marine, was in Vietnam. And so I chose something where I could serve the community and give back. Also something that I wanted, something that was always changing, something that was interesting and exciting. So as a young man sitting at a desk all day in an office would not have been for me. And so this was something that I could get out and help people. That was always changing. It was exciting. It was just very rewarding. It still is to this day. I would, if I had to go do it all over again, I would still choose this profession and would still choose Birmingham Police Department. It's been an awesome career. It's been an awesome journey. I look forward to the future.
So, as we end, because what I'm doing is taping is probably August. What's some things you want to accomplish before the end of the year?
Well, I'd like to, the recruitment and retention would be huge. Hopefully we could end on a somewhat positive note as far as violent crime. And the homicides, as you said earlier, is really the one part that is really plaguing us on the violent crime. Try and get that number down, and just making sure our employees have the things that they need to survive, getting them the days of saying you're a tough guy or girl police officer and just suck it up that you've had to see and deal with certain things doesn't work anymore. To get them to, if they need counseling or whatever the case may be, we have a robust peer support program in our department to getting them those things. And when you get them those things, they know that you care about them. It helps them deal with some of those things mentally. So it helps them in their personal life. It helps them here. It helps them when they go deal with our community members because they've been able to unload some of that. So they aren't taking that baggage with them to some of these calls and having a bad attitude or talking disrespectful to our community members. And it just helps them just be a better officer and just a better person as a whole. And that's what we want. We want people to have all those things, and we have to help them work through them.
Okay. All right. So one of the final things I want to do is, if somebody's watching this podcast and they're on kind of unsure about reporting the crime, what would you tell them?
Oh, you have to. And what I've always said, if you see something and you think it looks out of place or something, that's probably a sign that you should be dialing 911. Let us come out and just give us all the information you can, description, what you see, vehicles, what people are wearing, things like that. Let us come out and check on it. That's our job. That's what we get paid to do. I'd rather officers come out and there be nothing to it than nobody called and now we've got a crime that took place. It'd be better off for the officers to get there, look into it. And if it's nothing, great. If it's a crime, then we'll deal with it.
Now, I want to do some on the flip side. If you're committing crimes out here and you watching this video, what would you tell them now?
Well, the honest is if you're out here and you're committing crimes and you're victimizing our citizens, the Birmingham Police Department is going to do everything we can to deal with you accordingly. We'll treat you with respect and everything, but we're not going to continue to allow you to victimize and our citizens. It's unacceptable. People should be able to live in their homes in peace and shouldn't have to worry about being victimized. And so we're going to do everything we can to provide that for our community members.
Yeah, because one thing I've noticed more than anything now, like you said, you got the shot spotter technology, you got all these cameras. So it's almost impossible. You will be videotaped, especially in a lot of these areas if you're doing a lot of this stuff.
Exactly. And so the cameras feeding into the real-time crime center, that is really in its infancy, though we have a significant number. That number is getting ready to grow astronomically. So there's going to be a lot more cameras on the system as we move forward. We haven't even hit our first year anniversary with the real-time crime center. And so it's going to continue to grow. And as we do, it's going to help us solve crimes. Just you look at City Walk. There's almost 100 cameras under City Walk. That's a very beautiful place. It has a lot of activities for people to enjoy, and we want people to continue to come to Birmingham and enjoy that. So that's why those cameras were put down there. That's why we've put police officers down there during peak hours to provide that safe environment for people to come down and enjoy themselves.
Well, as you close, I want to thank you and just pretty much all officers for the selfless work that you all do, you don't get thanked a lot of times. Most time it's people want to throw blame, but you all have done, you always do a great job, and especially during the World Games, because if anybody went downtown during the World Games, there was plenty of security everywhere.
Well, that really, and I greatly appreciate that, and it worked because we didn't really have any incidences that occurred during World Games, and that was the fantastic thing, was we provided an excellent environment for the whole world to see. We put Birmingham on the map, and I think a lot of people are really seeing that just with the things that are coming on. We had the Garth Brooks concert. People were asking, when's the next concert? They didn't ask who it was going to be. They just wanted to come to the concert just because of all the things to offer in that area.
Yeah, so Chief Thurmond, you're always welcome to come back. Anybody, in your department, welcome to come back. Love to come and do a visit of the crime center, especially as you all approach 1 year, to kind of give the viewers kind of an insight on how you all are kind of doing this, with the new technology and everything and stuff. So you're always welcome to come back. I guess I could say in some other words.
Well, thank you, Jarvis. It was an honor to be on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you all for watching. Please check out what'shappenedbirmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the audio version of this on Apple Podcasts. Thank you all again, and have a great day. See you all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.